Well, hello again to all my friends. Yesterday I was watching the WWDC keynote, and seeing Craig Federighi reminded me of some bugs he sent to me once about resize performance, because he was complaining that Safari was being so sluggish when he was resizing the window. And it got me thinking about how the Serenity browser is getting a little bit sluggish on resize lately, and it's not very nice. So I figured, why don't we profile that and see if we can, knock out some low-hanging fruit or something. So maybe not so noticeable here, but let's open a little bit more complex page. So you can see here, this is not very nice. We can even get like a little bit of that cursor ghosting going on there. Let's see, like that, right? Like the good old days of Internet Explorer. And that's not really something we want to have here. So let's see if we can grab a profile. Wait, can I do this? Do I have pgrep? No. Maybe we should make pgrep at some point. So profile pid23 enable, and let's just do a bunch of this and see what he's really up to. Look at those ghosts. All right, that's enough. So what are you doing? Okay, so we have 24% of the profile in hash map lookups. And all of that is style properties property, and most of that is, it's looking up if a given layout node is absolutely positioned. Oh, that's really silly. Oh, that's so silly. So we can fix this. So the way that we store CSS information in the layout tree right now is that after we run all the style sheets and check like, oh, does this selector match this element? We sort of build up a map of all the properties that apply to every element in the DOM tree, and then we store that map of properties with the element. And then whenever the layout code is asking stuff like, hey, is this element absolutely positioned? Then we go and we look in that map. And it's really naive, and this was bound to happen because it's just a stupid data structure for this. And we're gonna need to start moving towards more like computation-friendly properties, because we're gonna hit these, a lot of these properties we're gonna hit a lot during layout, right? Like we're gonna ask the same questions a lot, like what's the width property? What's the min width and max width constraint properties and stuff like that. And we should really be cooking those up somehow instead of storing the raw values and then going to a hash map every time. So I think we could get a huge improvement here just by caching the CSS position in a nicer format, because if you look at the implementation of style properties position, what it does is that it fetches out the position property, which is stored as a string, no less, and then we just check if it's which thing it is, and we're basically converting a string to an enum here. And instead of doing this all the time in layout, we could also just do it once when we get the style, because the style is not going to change. Like if the style changes, we'll have to update it, obviously, but most of the time style doesn't change. So let's see. I guess we can just start by doing something about that because it's so silly. So let's just store position on the layout node. I think that will be fine. Maybe we'll store it on the layout node with style. Because layout node can be text, and text does not have style. So layout node with style is the subclass that we want to store this on. So we'll just put something like this. And then I think maybe we'll take this constructor out of line. So we'll take this constructor out of line, yeah. So that we can do a quick lookup in there. So layout node with style. And what were the things? They were const node and non-null ref footer to style properties. Style. I think that was it. Yeah. So let's just modify that just a teeny tiny bit here and say that m position is m style position. We just fetch it that one time. And then is absolutely positioned. Then we can make this. We can instead of calling style position here, we can just use the cached value. So we'll cast it to a layout node with style. This cast is fine, by the way, because what we just did here. We just checked if we have style, so we can cast to it. This position like that, yeah. And I think we can, yeah, we can do it down here as well because it's the same story. Oops. Great. So I wonder, do we have any more of those lying around? We have a few, okay. We can get rid of all of these. So this one, we can just call position. This one, yeah. Oh, wait, we can't call position? Oh, right, yeah, because it's the same name as the variable. And let's see, I guess we could actually, we could make this slightly cooler by having layout node provide a position getter as well. And then if you're calling it on a layout node that doesn't have style, we'll just get it from our parent, because the parent of a layout node is always guaranteed to either be null or have style. So position. Yeah. So we'll do something like that, and you can, yeah, similar to this guy right here. So if we have style, just get position from self. Otherwise, get parent to position. And this is a CSS position. Excuse me. Okay, so then I actually could have done that is absolutely positioned a bit nicer, because then we didn't need to do the cast here. Cast is fine, but we can also just do it this way. Because it's inline, it should be able to take care of that nicely. Okay, so let's see. So this was, with the hash lookups, this was like 10% of the runtime. So I wonder how much faster this would already be. Because profiles can be a bit deceiving that way. Like just because something says like, oh, this is 10% at runtime, and then you get rid of it, and it can sometimes get significantly faster than it seemed like it would. And it's mysterious how that works. But let's see here. Okay, well, this is definitely snappier. Like, I don't have nearly as much time to make cursor ghosts as a performance metric. How much time do I have to make the cursor ghosts? So let's get a follow-up profile here, but I really like it so far. So browser, profile, and sluggy, blah, blah, blah. Wait, how do I get to that window? Here. Okay, so hash map lookups still dominate, although we're down from, what was it, 24% to 18.5%. That's really a nice improvement. It means that we're spending our time doing other stuff, although we still have pretty heavy amount of hash lookups. I think maybe I'm not going to go and convert all of those right now, because I'm looking for just a low-hanging fruit, and these will be a bit more involved because there's like fallback mechanism and stuff to do there. Whereas the position property is really straightforward. So let's just commit this. Live web. Cache the CSS position. The used CSS position value on layout node with style. This avoids having to query the style properties hash map whenever we need to know if an element absolutely positioned. This was extremely hot in interactive window resize profiles. Okay. And let's see if we have some other low-hanging fruit. This here looks stupid. It's like a type checking helper. Like, is this layout node a layout box? And then as you can see here, it's like a tiny number of instructions. This type of function you can very often inline with great success. Like, you see that it's essentially just doing a virtual dispatch, right? And you might, in many cases, you have more information at the call site. For instance, like, we might statically know at the call site that what we're calling this on is a layout box for whatever reason, and it might be able to get rid of the whole call because of that. But because it's an out-of-line call, then the compiler doesn't see into it, so potentially losing free optimization. It might be a total no-op. So let's see if we can at least always inline that type of stuff. And always inline. Yeah. And I feel like we should do this for is layout block as well, because why not? Who's calling this? Oh, okay. And then, do we have some other silly stuff here? 2px, like converting a length to a pixel value. That, I'm surprised to see that here. Because that we can probably inline that as well. Let's take a look at that one. So length 2px. So this is converting like a CSS length into a absolute pixel number, right? So if it's auto, we just turn it into 0. If it's a px value, so like if you say, width colon 10px, then we've already stored the exact number 10 here in a float. So in these two cases, we're really doing nothing, right? Like we're just either returning a constant or returning a value that we've stored. It's just in the case of M and rem units that we have to do some multiplication with some reference value that we have to go and look up. So I think we can do, say that we make the relative units out of line, and we do the absolute units in line. So let's see, this would be something like 2px relative, or relative length to px, let's say. And then the reference node, and like that. And let's fix that up. Relative length to px. And then in the header here, we can do the basic types, so the absolute types. If is relative, return to relative length to px. Layout node. And we can always inline this puppy. And then that's an assert not reached situation. Because I think, yeah, this will be much better. Because then most of the time we'll just be hitting one of these two cases. Sometimes this will be statically known at the call site, which is nice as well. So anything else super obvious here? I guess it's all these property lookups. What are these? Let's see. Let's look at the top one here. Maybe text align is also easy, because that one doesn't need fallback. The ones that need fallback, they're going to take some more work. Let's see. Let's see if we were able to actually knock anything out with these, but I like these changes regardless, so let's just say always inline is layout box and is layout block. Yeah, and likewise always inline absolute length to pixel conversion. Units out of line. Okay, so let's grab a new profile maybe. Yeah, I mean there's room for improvement for sure. It gets a little slower when you're profiling it, but can't really help that. All right, so we got that is layout box out of the list. That's nice. And length to px is no longer here either, obviously. And the relative to px is nowhere to be seen, which is a good sign. I wonder what we're malleting so much, creating strings. String or fallback. Okay, well, so this is interesting. So we're hitting malloc somewhat hard, right? Like on 2.5%, but a lot of those are in text align, and I think we can probably get rid of that one. So text align is just turning like fetches text align property from the hash map and then just turns it into a CSS value ID enum. So what if we just had whatever we do for the position type, that we would have something like similar here. So style value.h. We would have the same thing for text align. So we would have left, center, right, justify, and vendor specific center. And we'll create one of those instead. So let's see, CSS text align. Because the value ID, this is more of a parser type, right? That the intention here is for the parser that we eventually write properly is going to produce sort of value IDs, and then you would go and convert those to less ambiguous types. Because a value ID could be everything from like inherit or initial or auto or whatever to center or you know, any kind of value ID. And here we're really only interested in CSS text align specifically. So we'll do that, and then we'll just return text align center. Yeah, and then text align. We'll call it this right here and right here. Okay, so we could stash this on the layout node as well. Text align. It's probably okay. Yeah, let's try that. Layout node with style. So m text align is m style text align. So of course the purpose here again is to only fetch text align once instead of doing that string parsing and string checking and stuff. This will get rid of all those allocations, consolidate it into like a single upfront allocation, which I think will be just super dandy. So we're still calling text align here, but then what if we just do like this? And we have to just have to use the right thing here. So text align. This also reads better, I think. So just everything's just becoming slightly nicer here, which I appreciate. Text align. Okay, so now we actually got rid of everybody calling that. So that should eliminate this part right here, the malloc part of this. And presumably we should also see it here. Yeah, it's right here too. So it's showing up in multiple subtrees. It's a good one to get rid of. This thing could be, I guess we could inline it. It's pretty heavy, 1% for looking up something silly like that. I don't know. I think we're gonna be done here with these. I just wanted to get the lowest hanging fruit out of the way, and there's definitely a noticeable improvement. So I think that's cool. Let's just see how this last change fares. But I think it's a good change. So the web cache the text align the used CSS text align property with style. Okay, I'm just gonna start getting a profile right away. Okay, so malloc a little further down this time. That's good. Wonder what we're doing in add fragment. Oh, dude, look at that. Add fragment. This guy is looking up text align by calling the style directly. So we could use the cached value here as well. That'll be nice. So let's say text align. We want to know if it's justified. So if text align is CSS value, text align justify. And then there's that situation again, like position that we need to be somebody who has style. So this is kind of inelegant to add every single property like this. We're probably not going to keep doing that. We'll find some sub-object or something to hold these things. But even so, I think this is really cool. So text align. I mean, the caching aspect of this is really cool. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's going to be it for today's video. I just wanted to get some of these low-hanging fruits out of the way, and I'm a little low on time, so let's call it a day. If you made it this far, then I thank you for watching, for hanging out. I always appreciate the company, and I guess today I wanted to give a special shout out to all of the new supporters on GitHub sponsors and Patreon that showed up in the last couple of days. Very, very happy to have you on board. Thank you so much for the support. It always makes me feel so like silly happy when I get these notifications that I got some new sponsor on one of the platforms. So thank you very much for signing up, and thank you everybody else too for hanging out, and I don't know what else to say, so I'll see you next time. Bye.